Welcome back to Arise Prime Time, where we offer perspectives on the news and talking points of the day. I'm Charles Eniegolu. Now let's get the perspective of our guest commentator, who will assess much of what you've heard on the program today and hopefully help us understand the issues better. And he is Arise News analyst and former chairman of the editorial board of Daily Trust newspaper, Mahmud Jega. Great to see you, Mahmud.
Thank you, Charles.
A great guest we had earlier this evening. The former Senate President Bukola Saraki, speaking in very measured tones about what's going on in the PDP. Your assessment?
It was brilliant, honestly. I sat through and listened to him. Very brilliant, very measured. And he emphasized that the key objective now is to salvage PDP as a platform, that unless you do that, nothing else matters, because nobody will want to contest the next election if there might be illegal or other problems with the platform. So, and there are 3 steps to do that. You have to resolve the national secretary issue, which will enable you to have to inform INEC and hold a proper NEC meeting. And then the NEC meeting will take the final decision on having a convention. And at that point, you will have a new executive, and then it can continue the preparations. That was a very matured way he presented it. He refused to be dragged into other issues, but really he sounded very, very sensible.
Yeah, but those other issues are going to continue to be there until they are finally addressed, aren't they?
Oh, definitely. And the key
that
one
might actually get it, sorry to interrupt you, get in the way of that platform that they're trying to, you know, the platform you were talking about just now, to make it conducive for people to come in and run on. Those people could still be spoilers in that.
There is no doubt that as he is working with his reconciliation committee and the PDP governors and others to try to stabilize the platform, those who caused the problem in the first place will also be strategizing how to continue the destabilization effort. So it remains to be seen who will outwit who. But definitely that, because even if you resolve the position of the secretary, and in any case, as we have seen, 11 members of the working committee said they will not accept the reinstatement of Senator Anyanwu as the national secretary, which seems to be the main K-leg before you can hold a NEC meeting. So why are so many members of the working committee saying they will not agree to that reinstatement? And given the explanation that Dr. Saraki did, if he is not reinstated, then probably there is no way to hold a proper NEC meeting.
INEC has said that's the guy whose signature has to be on the
there.
Document. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's still tricky, but we'll see.
I think the word is tricky. It's going to be very tricky going forward. Let me just get your take on a couple of other things, because we've been seeing well-respected mainstream newspapers and so on carrying the headline that Umar Ganduje has either resigned or is about to resign. I mean, what do you make of that?
Honestly, the rumor has been on since morning. There are some essentially Kano-based websites that were saying since morning that something very big is going to happen today. And everybody was asking them, what is it? Until I began seeing this story. But to be frank, I think I have seen some major media have not yet reported the story, because even those that reported it, there are very many, but of course the number of social media that reported something does not mean it is
Although
true.
Some of the mainstream newspapers
have also got in. They don't want to miss that kind of story. But nobody mentioned any statement.
No, he hasn't released any statement, either from himself or
the
from
party.
the APC.
Exactly, and
So,
that is very important.
I agree.
Medium would like to say, according to a statement by him or
absolutely. But let's talk about one that has gone beyond the expectation of a statement, and we actually have video footage of them. And that's the news that broke yesterday, that Governor Fubara of River State has reconciled with Nyesom Wike after the president interceded again. I wonder what your reaction to that is.
I hope it is a successful reconciliation in the interest of the people of River State and of the country, because the state has been in limbo politically and governance-wise since March. So therefore we pray that it is a genuine reconciliation. Now, we don't know the details.
Yeah.
Although
we don't know the terms of the,
we don't know the terms
of
but
the peace agreement.
Now I saw some 4-5 point terms in the social media. Again, as we were saying earlier, you don't know.
You can't confirm. Yeah.
Some of them looked to be reasonable, but I don't know. Saying like, for example, okay, Fubara will be reinstated to his governorship seat, but he has promised not to run again for re-election, and he will allow Wike to appoint all the local government chairmen. Then he will now pay the members of the State Assembly all their salaries that have been withheld, and then they also pledged not to impeach him. This was what I saw on some.
Well, I mean that would seem to make sense in the circumstances.
Exactly. Yeah, it does make some sense. The only thing that surprised me, because there were stories in some media saying Governor Fubara and even the suspended members of the State Assembly were still being paid their salaries. And even if they were not paid, I wonder why this administrator didn't pay them. Because so I wonder why that should become a major term in the settlement. However, nothing was said about party loyalty. Is Fubara staying in PDP?
That's a big one.
That's a big one. Yeah. That's the biggest one, in fact, because if he remains in his party, he will now have to work at cross purposes with the APC federal government, which is what the Minister of the FCT is working tirelessly for. So at some point, there will still be crisis if that particular point is not resolved. But we don't know. Even these items that we have seen, reasonable as they look, we are not sure whether that...
And we don't know either when the state of emergency is going to end.
Well, it was for 6 months, which means from March to September, but of course the president can revoke it at any point in time. There are many things. For example, some PDP-controlled states went to the Supreme Court over that matter.
Yes.
And it is surprising.
That's another pending issue, isn't
Exactly. It's surprising that the Supreme Court has not taken up such a very important issue.
Very surprising.
Up to now. Very surprising. So
very concerning.
Very, because a matter like that, because it's only states suing the federal government, that the matter can go straight to the Supreme Court without going. So it looks like with this meeting that took place, the president is likely to end the state of emergency much earlier than the 6 months, which he has, I think, the right and the power to do.
Well, we'll keep watching it. Mahmud, thank you very much indeed. Mahmud Jega is a Rise News analyst and former chairman of the editorial board of Daily Trust newspaper. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
That's it for this edition of Arise Prime Time. Join us again tomorrow. Well, actually, join us again next week. From me and the entire team here in Abuja, thank you and bye-bye.